Today is October 7th, and I would be remiss if I didn't note the importance of today. I'd like to just say that, you know, I've witnessed a lot of arguments online about the situation currently in the Middle East. And what I want to say is this: I am here on this planet for peace. I'm here on this planet for the peace of all beings. I don't think any attack is correct. I don't think any war is correct. I don't think war is a just way to solve a problem. And so today I invite everyone to lift our voices in a chant for peace for the whole world, for an end to the idea that war is an acceptable solution. It is not an acceptable solution. And when we allow war to be an acceptable solution, when we allow our minds to consider it, our minds will automatically default to war as inevitable. The problem of having the idea that war is an acceptable solution is that it becomes the inevitable. That's just how humanity works. I wish it wasn't like this, but it is. So today, let's lift our hearts and our chants for peace, for all beings to have peace, for war to never be considered an acceptable solution by any leaders in the world. That in fact, in order to earn one's role as a leader in the world, one would have to prove that one was skillful and adept enough to avoid reaching for war as an acceptable solution to conflict. How great would that leader be? A leader who says war is never an acceptable solution. That's somebody I would be able to really get behind in their leadership, in probably a lot of other things too. It is the month of Hecate. She is the way shower. She is the lamp lifter. She is the key bearer who opens doors of possibility that maybe we didn't even know were there. So today, let's call on Hecate and ask her to lift that lamp and show the way, to use that key and open the door to a better future in which violence is never considered the solution. Morphos, Phosphoros, Eilethua, wild wanderer at the crossroads, bright hostess at the thresholds, bearer of twin flames, radiant bride of night, mother of darkness, guard, guide, and lead me today. I am a deer in thy wandering herd. I am a key to thy mysteries. I am a torch in thy hand. I am a footfall along thy silent path. I am a star in thy vast heavens. I am a wave in thy fathomless seas. I am a knife that cuts cleanly. I am a soul in thy holy retinue. I am a fiber in the rope of eternity. I consecrate myself to thee this day and every day, that I may travel safely within the folds of thy saffron cloak, dive with thy aid into deep mystic waters, and dance with thee amongst the shades of my benevolent ancestors. Therefore, grant me courage and constancy, guard me and guide me, and bestow upon me thy faultless and flawless perception. Our deck for this month and our deck for Hecate in the temple is, oh, a deer walked in front of my window as you were speaking to peace. Very unusual. Oh, that's really great. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful, Arrow. Um, the Priestess of Light Oracle. This is by Sandra Ann Taylor and Kimberly Weber. And let's see what our message is for today. We had some really direct, interesting messages last week around setting a boundary against toxicity and about embracing a healing path and knowing oneself to be lovable, even if people have tried to make us feel unlovable, which probably many of us can relate to that feeling. So let's see, what are the messages as they continue to unfurl in this week's divinations? Adjustment, looking back and moving forward. Beautiful art on this card. Looking back and moving forward. Wolf says, relating hard. I'm going to see you soon, Wolf. I can't wait to come and visit. All right, our card, adjustment. The Priestess of Wisdom pauses, looking over her shoulder as she receives owl guidance about adjustments to make before moving forward. When this card appears in your spread, pay attention to any other cards you've drawn. This card marks a pause in your energy, a time to contemplate what you've been doing and determine if any changes would prove beneficial. Reflection and course correction now are wiser than charging full steam ahead. The owl has extraordinary vision. It can adjust its focus from telescopic to microscopic in an instant. In fact, it is always adjusting, always ready to redirect its path for a more effective result. This card is suggesting that you do the same. Review your previous choices and determine what has worked for you. Look ahead to see what changes you can make that can accelerate your plan's fruition. This could call for some patience and courage, for you may have to shift or even abandon a path that has been your primary focus. But take note of the bright light from the right, the future, that is pouring into the Priestess of Wisdom's left hand, the hand of receiving. She has orbs there and at her third eye. She is guided in her adjustments by the clarity and vision of the owl, as well as being directed into the future by the light and the orbs of the spirit world. You too can be guided this way when you let yourself stop, reconsider, adjust, and move peacefully forward with trust. And our affirmation today, it is safe for me to stop and reconsider my path and my process. I am patient and courageous in the choices and changes I make. This is really, really powerful. This eclipse portal has given us an opportunity to reflect on emotions from the periods of 2006 to 2008 and from 2015 to 2017. These are the cycles that kind of were triggered by this most recent set of eclipses. I wonder if each of us spent a little time contemplating what our emotional state it just hit me like a brick. I hope it's not too painful. But this would be a really good time for us to consider those periods in our lives. What was going on? What were we doing? What were we thinking? What were the um, emotional states that came up? What were the decisions we were making at those times in our lives? And what is it that we might need to do now that would be different from those times? Making the same mistakes over and over again is part of our human nature, but it doesn't mean we have to like it. We can feel the ways in which our prior decisions have impacted us and maybe say to ourselves, maybe not. Maybe do something different now. Yeah, really feeling this message, says Stephanie. Yeah, I am too. And have been feeling this during this eclipse portal, really feeling this sense of like, what is it from the past that I'm bringing forward that's still good, still relevant, still my heart's desire, still who I think myself to be in the best way? And what are the aspects of those periods of time where I would not like to be dealing with that again. I would not like to be going through that again. I would rather do something different. I wish I had known then what I know now, those kinds of thoughts. So let's spend a little time in that today. It's really important not to linger in regret in one's life. And regret has this terrible way of taking over. And in fact, when we let regrets take over, then we might be blocked from creating something new. We might be blocked from thinking things through in different ways. What if we said to ourselves, whatever I do next, it doesn't have to be right. It just has to be different so that I can deeply learn from it. If I can deeply learn from something, it's worth it. No regrets. There's nothing going on here I didn't sign up for. I signed up for a life of learning. I will continue to grow. So allow yourself the freedom today, rather than sitting in right and wrong, to sit in familiar and different and see how that hits for you. Familiar and different is easier for us to process in a more strategic way, a more objective way than right and wrong. Right and wrong immediately triggers all these thought processes. Oh, if this is right and that is wrong, then I should do this and I shouldn't do that, and da 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 da, and self judgment, and oh, I wish I knew then what I know now, and da da da. Oh my gosh, you can just stay in that all day long, or you can say right, wrong, or different. Right or wrong may or may not be useful right now. Different is useful right now. Different is what causes my neural net to grow. Different is what invites me to have a fresh perspective. So, no right, no wrong, just different, and see where that takes us today. All right, now let's get into practice. We're going to do 3 prostrations before the shrine of Kuan Yin. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intentions today, setting the intention for leaders in our world who have earned their place because they have made trustworthy decisions, including the decision that war is never the answer. And let's recite the 4 immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their delighting in the happiness of others as their happiness comes to fruition. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. And let's make our offerings. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering for Kuan Yin, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Omahum. 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 Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Kuan Yin, remain until the end of samsaric existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. 108 recitations of Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, envisioning a world in which peace is the answer. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Kuan 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 Yin Pusa. And now let's offer our brief prayer for the Mani Reciter of Calm by Gyaltse Tokme Zangpo. Lama Dankun Sumlak Chaksa Lo Dakni Changchuk Nimpur Chike Bar Gangdang Gangdu Kepa De Dang Der Tadu Tuje Champo Chetzin Ching Gusum Gewe Chila Chapar Sho Jamdang Ningje Champo Kunlang Ne Tuje Champo Tuljar Gerpa Nam Lame Changchuk Chola Go Pe Chir Tuje Champo Trinle Par Sho. Homage to the Guru and Three Jewels. From now until I reach the essence of awakening, wherever I may be reborn, in that place may I always follow the great compassionate one and dedicate my body, speech, and mind to virtue, inspired by loving kindness and supreme compassion, in order to lead all Mahakarunika's followers to supreme and unsurpassable awakening. May I carry out the great compassionate one's activity. Lama dankun shiksun lakchak salo, dakni changchuk nimpor chikevar, gangdang gangdu kepa de dang der, tadu tuje champo jetsin shing, gusum gewe chila chaparsho, jamdang ning je champo kunlang ne, tuje champo duljar girpanam, lame changchuk chola gope chir, tuje champo trinle je parsho. And now 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum. And we're going to be sending out energies of different solutions, energies of better solutions to all of the world leaders, particularly those who are currently engaged in conflicts that negatively impact their people. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks for our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lama Dechin Yeshe Wangmo. Om Sosti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss Yeshe Wangmo be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Kuan Yin in our hearts. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. And we close with a bow to Kuan Yin, bow to one another, and a bow to the inner teacher. And wishing everyone a day of different. Don't worry so much about whether you're making the right decision or the wrong decision. Instead, just choose something different than you've ever chosen before to see how that opens your mind to new perspectives and possibilities. There's a much easier path to making the right decision when we simply don't duplicate the wrong one. All right, be back tomorrow. Bye now.